Hey Scorpio, Happy New Year and welcome to 2020. Let's begin this month with talking about some of the bigger energies that are going to be happening. We've Saturn, Pluto, your ruler conjunction, and we have a big lunar eclipse happening this month in Cancer in your 9th house. So what does that mean? Well, let's get to it, Scorpio, and see how that's going to affect you. We'll do what we always do. We'll shuffle the cards and wait on the right ones to come out for you, my love. And in the meantime, we'll talk about these energies as the first card hops out there, Strength, followed by the Page of Cups. So Strength, it's interesting that that's coming out, Scorpio, because what seems to be happening for you is that you're getting a whole lot of confidence, a whole lot of strength in order for you to speak up, really. Speak up and say something that has been long since playing on your mind. There's a feeling of kind of going a bit head to head with people who were very scattered, very confusing, people who flip-flopped, changed their minds, that you couldn't quite pin them down, maybe in work, maybe with your family. There's a feeling of, you know what, I'm moving away from this. The experience I've had there with those people, those very changeable and confusing people, I'm just coming away from it. I don't need to be part of what feels to be, Scorpio, like it's like your attention was caught and trapped somehow onto something that was either very messy, very petty, or just very bloody confusing. I just get the feeling for you, it was like I couldn't stop thinking about this situation, and yet I couldn't make any sense out of it. And it was making me feel all out of sorts. It was making me feel insecure. It was making me question everything about myself. So there's a feeling of coming away from the mess, coming away from the small-mindedness, but certainly coming away from the confusion. For me, it's almost like the feeling of you saying, I just don't need this in my life anymore. And a lot of that is playing out because the energy is still very strong this month in that 3rd house. Saturn and Pluto conjunction happening there. It's like, I want to get my life back in a way that I have a little bit more control over the details of it. I have a little bit more control over certain things that I didn't have control over before. It's almost this thing, Scorpio, of other people were making decisions for your life. And that doesn't suit you at all. At all. So now it's the energy of, come on, Scorpio, let's get really super serious now. And maybe that has already happened, but it's like you're more cemented, more determined now to change, like all the things you couldn't control, and just to look at them and say, why did I worry about that? Why did I bother about that? I'm more serious now about having a new experience in my life where I'm taking back what I feel, I'm taking back control of these messy situations. It's like, I just feel, as I'm tuning into your energy, Scorpio, it's like a real moment, and maybe it happened around December, where you just looked at, it's a feeling I have of confusion, just, how did I let this go on for so long? How did I let myself stay stuck in that small-minded messiness for so long? How did I allow somebody who really didn't seem to know what the hell they were doing steer so many choices in my life? It's my choices from now on. But there's that feeling, Scorpio, especially now with the lunar eclipse in the 9th house, of pulling right back. It's like, whoa, Nelly, my energy is coming out of that. My energy is coming out of that. My energy is coming out of that. And I'm going to remind myself of what my core beliefs are, because that's very strong here too. There could be a real moment for some of you where it's like an epiphany. It's like where you say, this is not me. I am not that person. I am not the person who gets caught up in certain things or caught up with certain people or allows myself to lose such a level of control over something. I am not that person. I also feel some of you saying, whatever these situations were that you've come through, Scorpio, it's a feeling of, I wasn't raised this way. And I'm going back to, it's almost like a good feeling, like how my parents raised me, my mother raised me, my grandparents raised me, my family or my community. It's a feeling of, I'm going back to some better moral code or to some better stance, that I kind of feel like I'm doing not just the right thing, but a kind of good thing for myself, for my life. And that means having to peel myself away again from that confusion, or that, for me, when I'm feeling your energy and I'm looking at it, it's almost like, what the heck? They're like headless chickens. How did they get anything done? It's like a comedy of clowns. And again, pulling back. I do feel for many of you, there could be an issue for those of you with brothers and sisters. If there had been an issue, in some cases, some of you might have felt a bit of weirdness or a bit of stress or a bit of having to work extra hard with brothers, sisters, or family members. There's a feeling of, again, why did I worry so much about that? I'm taking it back. For some of you, again, it could be this thing with a brother or a sister particularly, believing for a long time that maybe your family had favored another brother or another sister. And maybe that had been getting at you for a long time. But now there's a feeling, again, just this thing. I just keep feeling, Scorpio. It's like, you know, that type of vibe, like, nah. Just, nah. Not playing that game anymore. Very strong. That's very strong. I am not playing that game anymore. And genuinely this time, really this time, it doesn't bother me. It really doesn't bother me. So that's huge. That's huge. There's a sense of feeling secure in a new direction that you're going in a new, like, this is what I believe kind of vibe. That card came out there. This is what I believe. This is what I'm sticking to. This is my new narrative. This is my new experience of life. Some of you, I definitely feel, have already started the process of leaving behind an old social scene and just moving towards something that's a little bit more Scorpio friendly. You know, so there's a feeling of that, wanting these newer, bigger experiences. Again, that feeling, Scorpio, I just felt that there, it's a kind of, I'm done with it. It's like, and that's the end of that. Bye. Not dealing with that anymore. In fact, it's almost like you're leaving behind something, and it's almost like another world to you. It's almost like as the car pulls away and you're waving goodbye, it's like, I can't believe that was the old me. I can't believe I was so involved there. I can't believe that that's a chapter of my life closed. And I am ready for this new adventure. And you're chomping at the bit for it, Scorpio, for these new adventures. Now, for some of you, I say with the lunar eclipse in the 9th house, it could mark a period where you're tired of traveling here, there, and everywhere. You're tired of being pulled and dragged. So you want to start finding something a little bit more secure and solid. There's also the feeling of maybe some of you tired of the longest period trying to rationalize other people's behavior, trying to rationalize the world, trying to rationalize the state of so many things going on in the world now. And again, there's that feeling of, I'm taking my mind out of this. This is energy. What I sense, Scorpio, it was almost like you felt a hook had gone into you. where your energy was pulled all the time in trying to understand a situation and trying to be good with it, trying to see the higher picture all the time. Well, they behave like that because, they didn't have a great start in their life, or they act like that because, they've got problems, or they do that. Always, always, always trying to see the higher value of some shitty situation. But again, Scorpio, it's that feeling of, I'm taking that hook out. Sometimes a shithead is just a shithead. Sometimes there's no great rationalization or reason for it. Sometimes it is what it is. And I don't have to worry about that anymore. Now that I'm free, now that I don't have to try to be this better person all the time, I can just say, instead of being the better and bigger person all the time, I'm going to be a better and bigger person in my life. For me now, for the rest of the time. So there's that. That's very strong. Now, other things that might be happening. We've got Mars in the second house there for you this month. Could be a good bit of energy going into vocalizing and verbalizing something. The pressure is mounting, Scorpio, and you could be finally having your say. Finally just saying, I've held it in for too long. And yet there's the feeling of not going, It's just the feeling of, well, here we are, kind of just out it comes, and there it is, and it's a kind of, and now I'm moving on. So it's confidence again, confidence to kind of release a certain amount of pressure, but with a level of force, but also control. And I feel for many of you, once this thing is said and spoken out, there's a feeling of coming back to ground again. There's a feeling of, well, now that all that hot air is gone, I don't feel myself flying up like a balloon. I'm back down to earth again. And it feels good. It feels really good. So things are going to get said. And your confidence keeps building and building and building because of this. Now, for some of you too, a lot of confidence around some financial situation or money situation happening here. There's a drive, it feels, for you to get your money organized. You're going into 2020 maybe with a New Year's resolution about being a little more disciplined with your money, a bit more choosy about what you're spending your money on, and maybe coming up with a strategy on how to save money for a vacation or how to do something. There's just that feeling of, I'm really serious about this, and I'm determined to get the amount of money I need, or in general to get a strategy on my finances. And there's a lot of energy going into that. A lot. Yeah, nice sun energy coming out there too. Now, speaking of the sun is in your third house, as we're just waiting on 2 cards here, Scorpio. And again, that's that feeling of, again, communicating something strongly, clearly, maybe with authority figures, bosses, people that you felt you couldn't speak up to before. There's a lot of, let's fix this, let's heal this. I'm going in with a lot of power and a lot of force here. I'm the one who's going to really begin and end this conversation. Yeah, for some of you, it could be a family member or something to do with a position of security. That could be within family, or it could be within your work. There's a feeling of what I just feel, Scorpio, is this thing of your confidence is growing. But there's definitely, it's like when the words come out and when you explain what needs to be explained, when you shine a light on what needs to be cleared up, then you've got the force. I've got the power. Now, the sun then moves into the 4th house. Now, very 4th house card coming out there, the Cancerian card. And we've all the cards that we need here, Scorpio, but I'll just tell you about that 4th house. The sun going in there, again, giving you more confidence, more and more confidence to continue speaking up and making decisions. Now, this is important. Making decisions based on you needing 2 things, clarity and peace. You've the new moon there in the 4th house too this month. Again, everything that's coming from you now, it's like, I need a new experience, but it's got to have clarity. And I am determined in 2020 to have a sense of bloody inner peace. Some of you with the new moon in the 4th house could be very strongly thinking about moving home, wanting to get plans in place to do something new with your home. With Venus in there, there could be a thing of doing something that generates money from your home, like renting out a room or starting a business or a side business from home. But there's a feeling of money being spent with family, with the people that you care about and love. And it goes on and on and on. Anyway, it's really good, Scorpio. That's all I can say. It's almost like this. It's like a big shift where you get the book of life and you turn that page and say, that's the end of that chapter. Where is my quill? I am about to write myself a whole new chapter in life. I feel that too. I feel so many of you felt that you've been pulled and dragged where other people had been given the authority to somehow write in your book of life. And you're saying, give me back that bloody book. Give me that pen. Get away. This is my business. This is my life. I get to make all the decisions. I get to write the adventures in my life. This is personally something that I'm embarking upon now for 2020. So that's very strong. Scorpio, let's do it. Let's go over to your big grand, ta-da, your overview. So we begin with strength, force, determination, very much a sun card. It's also Leo, but we'll focus on the sun aspect of it here. There's a healing conversation that's being had. The healing could be between you and somebody else, but really for me, it's more like you want to have this conversation for you to be at peace. You want this conversation for you to start finding some emotional calm, or to find some emotional, well, I understand it now. And now I can move on. So there's definitely a conversation that's been had where you are speaking to somebody and it's all about bringing you a sense of peace. Because I do get the feeling, Scorpio, you're saying, well, it would be nice if the other person got peace too, but that's not really what I'm working towards here. I'm being a bit selfish this month, and rightly so, Scorpio, because this is about me wanting a sense of inner peace. And as I'm tuning into that, it's almost like I want to switch off my mind. I am so much better when I'm back in my flow. You're a water sign. I want to start over, rejuvenate, get my strength back, because I'm coming out of having too much to think about, having too many decisions to make, being all trapped up here in my mind. And I know I'm much happier when I'm grounded and kind of just able to float a bit freer in my intuition, in how I feel about things, and maybe even sometimes how I receive psychic messages about things. That's more my style. It doesn't work for me when I get so trapped in my mind. So that's something I'm bringing back to balance and healing. Now, on a super literal level, I feel that some of you could be having a conversation with somebody in the workplace. Now, this person could have sun, moon, or ascendant in Leo, but there's a conversation that can be had that you benefit from somehow. There's a healing coming from this. There's a something pleasant coming from this. Things start to flow again. So if it's a work thing or another authority figure or something like that, have the conversation. That this other person might be far more receptive than you think, and they may actually help something flow easy for you. Again, on another super literal level, this card could mean for some of you, for the singles, that there is a new conversation opening between you and a Leo, sun, moon, and ascendant. Possibly somebody that you meet through the work that you do, a client, or just somehow connected somehow to the work that you do. Could be a new conversation opening there and a bit of attraction going on. So that's very nice. Excuse me, this person seems to be a key player somehow. And there's something about them that you do find just quite attractive and you're happy to talk to them. Nice, nice. Now we're moving on. Again, investment card here. This is the card of Venus, who wants to invest like the farmer. But there's a feeling of, I've been through the hail, the rain, the sleet, the snow. I've been doing my best to plant the seeds of change for me with my career and with my money. And I think I'm beginning to see that change blossom. So for me, there's a feeling of you're beginning to see the results of some hard work or effort that you've put into a work project or some other project that you're very passionate about or something that you've invested money into, and you're seeing it. The rewards are starting to blossom, but I get the feeling this is only the beginning. It's like I've a better handle over everything now, and this is not the end. This is the beginning. And I have to just sit with myself at the start of 2020 and ask myself, do I have the energy to go on and do my next big adventure, invest in something new, go further with my career, take new risks in having a little bit more control over the way my career direction is going for some of you? Is it something that I've the energy to do? And I think you do. I really think you do. It just feels like there's a new adventure. And for me, it strongly feels like I've never tried this before. I've never done this before. There's something very new. But it's almost like the question is, can I do it? Do I have the energy for it? Well, I think you do. Because what's happening here, Scorpio, is there's a bit of a transition moment here in January. It's happening for everybody, where we have to reassess, readjust, which is kind of strange. It's the only kind of month where there's no retrogrades, but yet this is what every energy I'm tuning into, it is feeling kind of like what a retrograde energy would do, which would ask you to reassess. Stop, reassess, gather your energy for 2020. Make your plan and build your confidence here. It's almost like get everything in order for January, and then you'll have the energy to move on. I feel some of you have a choice with a money situation or a work situation this month. I'm not sure if it's an offer. It's more like a personal choice. It's more like I'm not waiting on an offer. Instead, it's me driving this. I am now sitting down in January and deciding what my choices are. Because for too long, those choices were kind of forced on me, taken out of my hands. I was always catching up. But now this is the moment where I need to rest for a moment and feel like, well, what choices do I actually want to make? How can I make something different with my money or with my career? How can I invest in myself? How can I invest in 2020? And how can I be like the farmer and move this along with a sense of good pace, steadiness, and knowing and trusting that something good is going to come out of it? And again, gather yourself a little bit this month, Scorpio, and don't let the fear overwhelm you. The fear of, I don't have the energy for any of this anymore. Rest. If that's what you have to do, then rest, 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 rest. I just see here down with the chart here, I see a lot of you wanting to do really fun things with your partner, or maybe some of you might be finding a new partner this month. In the second half of the month, the conversation seems to get open. Maybe with this Leo, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, the conversation is open, and there's a feeling of, it's almost like wanting to recharge yourself by spending time with either your partner or somebody new, or spending time traveling and just relaxing while you're away, or relaxing while you're traveling, or taking a new adventure somehow in your life. It's like, this is how I relax. So there's a lot going on for you, it seems. Now, mid-month, this is a Jupiter in Capricorn card, and Jupiter is in Capricorn. Mid-month, you're saying, do you know what I need to do? I need to be not so in the background anymore. Again, this thing of letting other people dictate the path of my life. I feel for some of you, mid-month, there's a feeling of, I never seem to get the full recognition that I deserve. Sure, maybe my boss is happy with me, maybe my partner's happy with me, my family, but nobody ever sees everything that I do. I'm being cheered on maybe, or I am being somewhat acknowledged for the work that I do, but it feels like it's not enough, Scorpio. It's not satisfying you anymore. I just get the feeling of you saying, if people only knew how hard I worked, then they'd see me in a totally different light. And that's what I want to expand. So I feel some of you, it's like you're tired of not being seen, not being recognized, not being noticed for the things that you do, for how you keep your life together, for how you keep relationships together, for how you keep all the plates in the air, how you've been keeping your financial life together. Nobody knows. And usually you're a very, very private person, Scorpio, so it's surprising me that this is bothering you. It's like this feeling of, maybe for some of you, feeling like I'm a humble person, but sometimes humility doesn't get the things you need. So there's a feeling of, how can I still be a private person? How can I still be a quiet person? How can I still work in the way that I do, in my own Scorpio way, yet at the same time still push myself out there a little bit, so people are kind of getting to see just how much I do? There's a feeling that some of you are sick and tired of what I feel of is being passed over. Maybe in work, you're saying, I do the work of 10 people, and yet this idiot just walks in the door fresh from their college degree, and because they can give it all that, they get the position. You know, here I am taking care of people, taking care of family members, looking after my friends, but as soon as somebody new comes along, or some bright fresh face comes along, I'm kind of, yeah, I'll talk to you later. And I'm left at the other end going, what? You know, something new, shiny and sparkly can come along and I get passed over. So I feel a level of frustration with that. And again, what I'm hearing is, and you shouldn't blame yourself, but what I'm hearing you saying is, it's my fault. I don't advertise myself well enough. I don't tell people how much I do for the family, for my friends, for my work, for my boss. I'm not advertising it because it's not my style. I'm not that type of person. But yet, at the same time, we don't live in a world that I'd kind of like, where people recognize sincerity, conscientiousness, diligence, hard work, discretion. Maybe not everybody appreciates that in the way I'd hope. Now, some people do. We can't say that the world is totally changed. People still value all the good values. They really do. But it's a moment where you're saying, but maybe I need to kind of play the game a little bit. Now, not the old game, not the game you're leaving behind, but come up with new ways where you can show people your worth, your value. Did you realize that this is how much work I do in this office? Did you realize that this is how much I've been caring about you, thinking about you? Did you know how much I've been, secretly cheering you on and hoping for the best? Again, something clicks, Scorpio, and you'll figure it out mid-month. It's a feeling of, I've got to start opening these Scorpio security doors in order to kind of let people see just how much I'm doing. I deserve a little bit more credit. I deserve a little bit more respect. I deserve a little bit more than I've been given. And maybe that's something you're working on for 2020. I deserve a lot more coin than I'm getting. That seems to be a big thing here. With this card too also, it's the feeling of getting more diligent, more focused on upgrading your skills somewhat. Maybe mid-month you're saying, I need to go and do a night class or a night course or maybe an internet course, or go and brush up my skills. I'm really good at what I do, but there's something that I'm falling behind in. And I need to kind of upgrade a little bit here. I need to brush up. I need to get more 2020-ified, because I'm feeling like I'm not going to get the best out of this if I don't kind of brush up my skills a little bit. Also, there's a moment here I feel of, feeling like you're missing out on opportunities because of all the things we just described. But missing out on opportunities because even you seem to be getting tired of the way you've been working. It's almost like you're pushing yourself, or it's like the energy is pushing you to strike it up again, light it up again. So that's why you need time to kind of come out of your mind and kind of get back into yourself a little bit, so that you can reconnect with your life in some way, reconnect with your creativity, reconnect with all the good things in your life, your partner, your children, your family, or maybe even a new partner this month. It's like reconnect with the things that have always given you passion, so you can light it up again. Because it's like a passionless moment spurs you into wanting to excel and do something new and fresh and different. It's like, I want to see a new world. I want to experience a new thing. So we're coming towards the end of the month, Scorpio, and here we have the sun shining on what could be a family matter, a healing coming to a family situation. This card often represents a conclusion coming to a family situation. It's like, that's the end of that. That's that sorted. We've had the conversation. We've shone a light on it. It's done and it's concluded. So there's a feeling of that. Some healing coming in between you and other family members too towards the end of the month. But for some of you, we've a lot of energy in the 9th house, and we also have the sun. For me, I feel a lot of you could be taking a journey. Could be kind of saying, I need a vacation, or I need to go far away, or I need, for me, it's like I need to relax, refresh, regroup. And I need, very strongly, I need to take my mind out of everything that I'm leaving behind in 2019. And I just need to wander around in some new place that's going to help me put an end to a lot of the spiritual turmoil I've been having over the last year, and maybe even financial turmoil for some of you. But it's almost like a journey at the end of the month it's like, this is what I needed. This is the new thing that I wanted to see. Very nice. We're coming towards the end of the month. By the way, this is also a Leo card. We've 2 Leo cards. So Leo, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant definitely has some hand, act, or part in this game of helping you positively, very positively, to move in a more Scorpio direction. there's a level of respect coming from Leo, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant towards you. And somehow, again, it's that feeling of them helping you to maybe see something from a totally different angle, and you'll benefit from it. Now, this is a Cancerian card, and we do have the full moon lunar eclipse in Cancer, in this 9th house. Again, for me, it's like towards the end of the month, the perspective totally changes. Again, I wouldn't be surprised again if some of you are thinking of moving home, maybe even moving very far away, or moving abroad, or moving, even if it's closer to home, moving to a place that's a bit less city and more rural, or a place that's less noisy and more peaceful. There's a feeling of needing that peace. In order for me to manifest my dreams, I need more peace and quiet. So some of you could be going on a recce, you know, on a journey to kind of test out, well, if I really wanted to move, where would I go? So you might be driving here, there, everywhere, or going somewhere to kind of test the waters a bit, Scorpio. If I'm wanting a new adventure, where's the right place? And I do feel some of you, it could be a big shift for some of you, where you say, to manifest my inner happiness and my inner peace and to get my magic and motivation back, I might need to move home. Or I might need to radically redesign my home, change it up in some way, change the home or family dynamic, do something totally different with where I'm living now, so that I can, it's almost like press the reset button. The Scorpio reset button gets pressed because you're making a decision at the end of the month to either completely change the inside of your home or your garden or the family dynamic in some way, or to completely move to somewhere new. And again, the shift seems to be going from a busy place, a noisy place, a place that's restless for you, into a calmer place. So out of the city and into the country, perhaps, that type of feeling. Or out of the centre and into the suburbs. Or out of one very noisy apartment block with noisy neighbours and into one that's a little bit quieter, you know. But the inner peace will come when you make some decision, Scorpio, about your home and the structure of your home, and how it actually brings you more peace than you thought it did. So, well, excuse me, Scorpio, I'm going to leave it at that. I thought that was very good. You've a lot of good positive energy flowing through you. In fact, the water signs seem to be doing very, very well this month. Not all the signs seem to be able to swim through the Cancerian eclipse as easily as the water signs, but you're doing very, very well. And I like it. And take all the time that you need to clear the air, find out where you need to go next, and find out how you're going to start writing your new big adventure, which I love. I love that, Scorpio. So, as I said, I'm going to leave it at that, my love. Now you know they're the general energies. To get to the nitty-gritty, to the details of what's going on, you know to come to the Vimeo readings, the deep read. In the description box down there below, go down there, Scorpio, and click into it and come on over. And what we'll do is we'll do our usual. We'll focus on couples, what's going on there with you. Singles, I mean, is there a Leo, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant coming your way this month? Money and career. Again, choices, decisions. Family, home. That seems to be a big decision too. And friends. And everything else that we don't talk about here, Scorpio, we're going to give it our full focus and our full kind of psychic energy vision there to kind of figure out what's going on for you for 2020. So come on over, Scorpio. I'm going to see you over there. But if not, if we're going to leave it at that, then my love, have a wonderful, wonderful start to this new decade. And as always, I'm going to leave you with all my love and a great, great, great big kiss from me to you. Mwah. Scorpio, until next month, my beautiful. Bye.